Hello and welcome, I'm Joshua Barnes and you're watching The World Report. Let's first take a look at the headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to meet US President Donald Trump to hold pivotal talks on the Middle East. Israeli delegations are being sent to Doha to discuss the Gaza ceasefire and to look towards any potential extension to the 42-day truce deal agreed with Hamas. China's finance minister has imposed additional tariffs of up to 15% on American goods in response to Trump's 10% duty on all Chinese goods. As trade tensions escalate, China has also announced measures targeting American firms, including the likes of Google. Meanwhile, President Trump has agreed to pause 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada after agreements were struck with the border nations' leaders. Justin Trudeau agreed to reinforce Canadian borders against the flow of migrants and drugs, while Claudia Sheinbaum will send thousands of troops to the Mexican border. The UN has reported an alarming rise in Russian executions of captured Ukrainian soldiers as strikes from Kyiv have again targeted a major Russian oil refinery. Meanwhile, the EU has signalled that rules over debt could be changed to allow more defence spending amid the war. The UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission has documented a concerning increase in the reported executions of Ukrainian soldiers captured by Russian forces. Here is the full report on the recent events.
The UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission reports a surge in executions of captured Ukrainian soldiers by Russian forces in recent months. Since August last year, 79 executions in 24 incidents have been reported, violating international humanitarian law. Mission Chief Danielle Bell says some Russian officials have openly called for the inhumane treatment and execution of Ukrainian PLs. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha urges urgent international action against Russian atrocities. Ukrainian Human Rights Ombudsman Lubanites urges the UN and Red Cross to investigate evidence of POW executions. The Russian Defense Ministry has not responded to the report. Russia's winter attacks on Ukraine's energy grid raise concerns over the government's failure to protect critical infrastructure near nuclear plants. Russian strikes in late 2024 endangered Ukraine's nuclear plants, forcing 5 out of 9 reactors to lower power. EU leaders vow to strengthen defense against Russia and other threats by increasing military spending and closing capability gaps. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is driving global economic instability, with its outcome affecting the region and the world. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's now get the latest from across North America. Crews have now removed some of the plane wreckage after the collision in Washington, D.C. An American Airlines plane collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter last week. Both air vehicles crashed into the Potomac River. Fire Chief Gary Steen stated that out of the 67 victims, who were all of those on board both planes, only 55 have been identified. More remains were discovered this Monday, and they were in the process of being identified. USAID has closed its headquarters to staff members. Elon Musk, one of Trump's top team, has shut down the agency. Workers at the US Agency for International Development were told to stay out of its Washington office after its website went dark over the weekend. This was followed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing it would come under his control. In a recent development, Trump's nominee to head the Commerce Department, Howard Lutnick, announced he would review the Biden administration's restrictions on firearms exports. These restrictions, imposed in April of 2024, target non-governmental users in 36 countries where US firearms are at a high risk of diversion. Lutnick pledged that if confirmed, he would ensure the department assesses the policy and takes appropriate action. Ontario, a city in Toronto, has announced a ban on US companies bidding for billions of dollars in government contracts, followed by cancelling a deal with Elon Musk's Starlink. Premier Doug Ford said that Ontario won't do business with people hell-bent on destroying our economy. He added that US businesses would lose out tens of billions of dollars in revenue, blaming President Trump for the fallout. A trial has begun for Hadi Matta, who is accused of attempting to kill author Salman Rushdie in 2022. Matta is an American of Lebanese descent who faces charges of attempted murder and terrorism for the attack. The stabbing left 77-year-old Rushdie blind in one eye and with severe wounds. Matta reportedly believed Rushdie's novel, The Satanic Verses, attacked Islam. The author had been targeted for years with death threats linked to the novel's controversial content. Matta will appear before Judge David Foley in court today. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth visited Texas on Monday to inspect military operations in Mexico. The trip is part of President Trump's hard right agenda to increase the military presence. Hegseth will meet with US troops stationed in the region. He praised their efforts, saying they are securing the border. Trump had ordered 1,500 additional troops to the border after taking office. Military aircraft have been used for deporting migrants as part of the operations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet President Trump at the White House on Tuesday. Israel is sending a delegation to Qatar to discuss the Gaza ceasefire, with Netanyahu to finalise the deal upon returning. Meanwhile, Israeli operations in the West Bank have killed 70 Palestinians, including 10 children, this year. Let's take a look at the updates.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu will meet President Trump at the White House on Tuesday, the first foreign leader visit in Trump's second term. Previously, Netanyahu stressed the Gaza ceasefire is temporary, with Israel reserving the right to resume fighting, supported by the US. Despite peace talks, Trump expressed doubts.
I have no assurances that it'll hold. I mean, I've seen people brutalized. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. No, I have no guarantees that the peace is going to hold.
On the other hand, Israel is sending a delegation to Qatar this week to discuss the next steps in the Gaza ceasefire deal. Netanyahu will also meet with his security cabinet upon returning from Washington to finalize Israel's position on the deal. In the West Bank, Israeli operations have killed 70 Palestinians, including 10 children, this year. Recently, Israel destroyed 20 buildings in the Jenin refugee camp, with the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees warning the camp is heading in a catastrophic direction. Meanwhile, 5 Arab foreign ministers and a senior Palestinian official sent a letter to US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, opposing Trump's plan to displace Palestinians from Gaza. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's now take a look at the latest news from across the Indo-Pacific region. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol has appeared in court on Tuesday for a new set of hearings. This is to determine whether he will be officially removed from office. Yoon faces charges regarding his martial law declaration, which lasted for just 6 hours. It was then voted down, leading to his impeachment. The Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility for killing a police officer on Monday in Khyber, a province that an officer was travelling to protect polio vaccinators when 2 gunmen shot him down. Pakistan and Afghanistan are the only countries where polio remains endemic. Terrorists have long targeted vaccination teams and their security escorts. Taiwanese actress Barbie Hsu, best known for her role in the hit 2001 series Meteor Garden, has died at the age of 48 from pneumonia. Hsu, a major star in the Mandarin-speaking world, gained popularity in countries like the Philippines, Indonesia and Thailand. She is believed to have fallen ill while visiting Japan. Her sister Dee Hsu confirmed her death to Taiwan's TVBS News. The South Korean Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport has announced the formation of an Aviation Safety Innovation Committee. This follows 2 major incidents involving Air Busan and Jeju Air. The committee aims to improve aviation security in the country. The first meeting took place on February the 4th, where experts from various sectors elected a chairperson to lead the committee. Cybercrime in India has surged, with fraudsters cheating people out of approximately $4 billion over the last 4 years. In 2024, they stole around $2.75 billion. Complaints have also increased significantly from 137,000 in 2021 to over 1.7 million last year. Data from the National Cyber Reporting Platform shows several Tier 2 and 3 cities as cybercrime hotspots. Australia has banned DeepSeek AI services from all government systems, citing national security concerns. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke confirmed that all DeepSeek products would be removed from government systems immediately. A threat assessment by intelligence agencies found the technology posed an unacceptable risk. In a bold move by the Trump administration, a United States military aircraft has taken flight with 205 Indian migrants on board, marking a major step in the enforcement of immigration laws. Let's take a look in this full report.
A United States military C-17 aircraft took off with 205 Indian migrants on board on January 3rd. This development comes as the Trump administration has identified 18,000 illegal Indian immigrants for deportation. This move marks a significant step in Donald Trump's immigration enforcement strategy. The administration has increasingly sought military support to strengthen border controls and execute deportations. Military aircraft are now being used to transport migrants, and U.S. military bases are housing detained individuals. A U.S. embassy spokesperson has stated that the country is vigorously enforcing its border and removing illegal immigrants to send a clear message that illegal migration is not worth the risk. Meanwhile, India has also addressed the situation. The Ministry of External Affairs has maintained that it will accept the return of illegal Indian migrants if their nationality can be verified. MEA spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal has reiterated India's firm stance against illegal immigration, citing concerns over links to organized crime. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's now take a look at the latest updates from across the continent of Europe. Swedish police have said that at least 5 people have been shot in an attack at a school in the city of Obero. This city is located around 200 kilometres west of Stockholm. This has prompted a massive response from rescue services, while police have reported that this is currently being seen as attempted murder, arson and an aggravated weapons offence. A French film director named Christophe Rougier has been found guilty of sexually assaulting actor Adèle Haenel when she was underage. He's been given a 4-year sentence with 2 years suspended. He will spend 2 years under house arrest and will also have to wear an electronic tag. Greece's popular Santorini island has been shaken by over 200 earthquakes. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has urged people on the island of Santorini to stay calm. This comes after an increase in seismic activity. His remarks come as schools have been ordered to close on Monday. Authorities have also advised against large gatherings in enclosed spaces across the volcanic island. Nigel Farage's right-wing Reform UK has overtaken Britain's governing Labour Party. A new poll shows it is now the country's most popular political party. This shift reflects growing public discontent with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, who has been in office for less than 7 months. Former NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg became Norway's new finance minister. This comes amid the cabinet reshuffling. He takes up the post as the Nordic country assesses the impact of a potential transatlantic trade war. However, the struggling Labour government hopes this will boost its standings in opinion polls. The parliamentary elections will be taking place in the country in September. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stated that Europe is strong enough to pursue its interest in trade talks with the United States. This came after a meeting with fellow EU leaders. He further said that the European Union is strong, also conveying this message to the United States. However, Scholz emphasised that the two are connected through an outstretched hand. In a tragic escalation of violence in South Sudan, artillery shelling on the capital of South Kordofan, Kadugli, has left at least 40 people dead and at least 70 others wounded. The attack has sparked widespread outrage and concern as the devastating war between the army and paramilitary forces rages on. Watch the latest in this report.
Artillery shelling in Sudan's south has killed at least 40 people and wounded about 70. As per reports, the shelling hit the South Kordofan capital of Kadugli under the control of the Sudanese army, which has been at war with the rival paramilitaries since April 2023. In a statement, South Kordofan Governor Mohamed Ibrahim said that the attack was carried out by a faction of SPLMN led by Abdelaziz al-Hilu. SPLMN is a significant armed group that has been a key player in the region's conflict, maintaining a presence in both South Kordofan and Blue Nile. According to two medical sources, the shelling targeted a local market, with the majority of casualties being civilians. Last week, the army broke a siege of its headquarters in the capital and the Signal Corps in Khartoum North, which had both been encircled by the RSF since the war began. On Saturday, at least 60 people were killed and more than 150 injured when the RSF shelled a busy market in army-controlled Omdurman, part of Greater Khartoum. Both warring sides have been repeatedly accused of targeting civilians and indiscriminately shelling residential areas. The war has killed tens of thousands of people, uprooted more than 12 million and devastated Sudan's fragile infrastructure, forcing most health facilities out of service. The UN's migration agency said on Monday that more than 600,000 people have been displaced from North Darfur since April 2024. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Now some updates from the world of business. Elon Musk and his team have taken control of the US Treasury Department's payment system. This is prompting a lawsuit that accuses him of unlawfully accessing the private data of millions of Americans. Musk, under President Donald Trump's cost-cutting initiative, is facing legal action from labor unions and advocacy groups. The lawsuit seeks a federal judge's ruling to block Doge from accessing taxpayer information. UN member states began negotiations on a global tax agreement aimed at combating tax evasion by wealthy individuals and businesses. However, the United States immediately withdrew from the talks. The negotiations, chaired by Egyptian official Rami Youssef, are set to continue until 2027. Currently, international tax matters are largely shaped by wealthy nations in the OECD, leading to criticism from developing countries about their exclusion from decision-making. US manufacturing activity expanded in January for the first time in over 2 years. The Institute for Supply Management's manufacturing index rose to 50.9%, up 1.7 percentage points from November, surpassing expectations of 50.0%. The index crossing the 50-point mark indicates expansion following 26 months of contraction. The growth came amid improving demand and production. Asian tech stocks rose after US President Donald Trump paused tariffs on Mexico and delayed tariffs on Canada. Gains were broad across Japan, South Korea and Hong Kong, mirroring a rebound in US markets. Japanese semiconductor firms Advantest and Lasertec LED led the rally, rising 5% and 4.81% respectively. Tokyo Electron, Renesas Electronics and SoftBank Group also posted gains, while Taiwan's TSMC and Foxconn climbed 2.8% and South Korea's Samsung Electronics rose by 4.13%. OpenAI and South Korea's top chat app operator Kakao announced a strategic partnership on Tuesday to develop AI products for the Korean market. According to company officials, Kakao will integrate OpenAI's technology into its services. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman also revealed that many Korean companies will play a key role in the US Stargate data project, but for now they will prefer to keep the details confidential. Self-driving technology company Waabi has partnered with Volvo to develop and deploy autonomous big rigs. The collaboration aims to address the growing driver shortage and reduce costs for fleets and truck manufacturers. Waabi, who is supported by Nvidia and Uber, will provide its virtual driver system, sensors and computing technology for Volvo's VNL autonomous truck. These trucks will be produced at Volvo's new River Valley factory in Dublin, Virginia. The partnership is part of a broader push to advance self-driving technology in the trucking industry, which aims to improve road efficiency and reduce operational costs. China has responded strongly to the US tariff hikes by filing a complaint with the World Trade Organization, arguing that the move was unjustified and violated international trade rules. In retaliation, Beijing announced new tariffs on US goods. Here's the full update.
On Tuesday, China took decisive action in response to the United States' recent tariff hikes, filing a complaint with the World Trade Organization. Beijing argued that Washington's move to increase tariffs on Chinese goods was not only unjustified but also a violation of international trade rules. In retaliation to the US decision, China announced new tariffs of its own. Starting next Monday, Beijing will impose a 15% tariff on US coal and liquefied natural gas imports, alongside a 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machinery, and large engine vehicles such as pickup trucks. As the situation continues to unfold, President Trump has signaled that a diplomatic resolution might be possible.
China will be speaking to China probably over the next 24 hours.
Adding to the tensions, China's State Administration for Market Regulation recently announced that it has launched an investigation into US tech giant Google. The agency said that Google is suspected of violating the anti-monopoly law of the People's Republic of China. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's now take a look at the latest from South America. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned Panama on Sunday that the United States could take action if the country doesn't reduce Chinese influence over the Panama Canal. During his first overseas trip as Secretary of State, Rubio toured the canal and met with President Jose Raul Mulino, where he expressed concerns about China's control over the vital waterway. Rubio said the US considers Panama's actions a violation of the 1999 treaty that handed the canal over to Panama. He suggested that without immediate changes, the US may need to take measures to protect its rights under the agreement. A man has died in a large avalanche in the French Alps on Tuesday. The 55-year-old dual Brazilian-Portuguese national was found at Le Grand Monte near Mont Blanc. The avalanche, which struck around 4:35 local time, was 1 kilometre long and 400 metres wide. Initially thought to be British, authorities later confirmed the victim's nationality. The man was skiing in an off-piste area when the avalanche hit, and a ski patrol spotted the danger while trying to close the area. Rescue teams arrived, but the man was declared dead and no other casualties were reported. Severe flooding in Queensland has forced thousands to evacuate, disrupted power to homes and damaged a key highway. Townsville, one of the hardest hit cities, is bracing for more flooding. As the rain subsided on Monday evening, locals began assessing the damage. The flooding has left widespread destruction, with authorities urging residents to remain cautious. Emergency services are working to manage the situation and assist those affected. London Zoo has successfully bred 33 endangered Darwin's froglets, marking a significant conservation milestone. These frogs were part of a rescue mission from southern Chile, where a deadly chytrid fungus has decimated 90% of their population. The frogs were transported to the London Zoo, where they were nurtured in climate-controlled tanks. This breeding success offers hope for the species' survival and potential reintroduction into their natural habitat. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has announced that his government will refuse US deportation flights carrying Colombian migrants unless they adhere to protocols ensuring humane treatment. He emphasised that Colombians should not be returned in handcuffs unless they are proven criminals. This stance follows a dispute with US President Donald Trump, who had threatened economic sanctions over Colombia's refusal to accept deportation flights. In response, Petro has arranged for Colombian Air Force planes to transport deportees, ensuring their dignity and safety during the process. The US has agreed to modify its deportation procedures to align with these standards. That's it for now, but we'll be back with more of your latest international news very soon.